DDT is a popular Russian rock band founded by its lead singer and the only remaining original member, Yuri Shevchuk, in Ufa in 1980. Named after the pesticide DDT, they are one of the better-known and most prolific Russian bands of the late 20th and early 21st centuries. History. Ufa period. The band was formed in 1980 and originally consisted of 5 members: Yuri Shevchuk vocals, guitar, Vladimir Sigakiev keyboard, Rustam Asanbayev guitar, Gennady Rodan bass, Rustam Karamov percussion. In 1982, the Komsomolskaya Pravda paper sponsored a competition for young musicians called Zolotoy Kamatin. DDT submitted 3 compositions: Inoplanotian, Kyornoy Solansa, and Nestreliai. During the long-running competition, the group published the first album, Svinya na Radyuj. The album contained elements of rock and roll, blues and country music. During this time, popular music in the former Soviet Union was split between sanctioned, official performers who were admitted to the Musicians' Union, and underground artists. Such underground artists were often highly trained musicians who also had other jobs. A complex underground network evolved in the 1980s, and unofficial music became widely distributed by magnetized i.e. in a similar way to the underground channels that had existed for non-state sanctioned literature. Such underground artists became widely known, and their unofficial albums were sometimes mentioned in the press. In the 1980s, DDT straddled the line between underground and sanctioned artists, but was close to the underground in the musical, lyrical, and performing styles. DDT's submission to Zolotoy Kamatin reached the final round of the competition, and the group was invited to perform in concert at Moscow's Orleanok complex, together with the other finalist, Rock Sentyba from Chernipovets. DDT and 3 members of Rock September, Vyacheslav Kobrin, Yevgeny Belozyorov and Andrei Maslenikov, soon produced a collaborative album, Monologue v Saigon, later renamed to Compromise. After recording the album, Sigakiev and Shevchuk returned to Ufa. Sigakiev distanced himself from the group, while Shevchuk recruited new members including Rodan, drummer Sergei Rudoy, guitarist Rustam Ravanov and keyboard player Vladislav Senchio. In May 1983, DDT successfully performed at the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow, as part of a 3-day, sanctioned festival, Rock Zamir. The performance, however, was edited out of the official television program covering the event. The new collective produced the album Peripheria in April 1984. After recording this album, some members of the group landed on a KGB watch list and were subjected to government persecution. The band's music was banned, forcing them to go underground. Ironically, this served to increase the popularity among young Russian music fans. Although they never considered themselves political activists, Shevchuk always felt it his duty as a citizen and a songwriter to address not only the strengths but the weaknesses of his country's government, a dangerous stance to take in the former Soviet Union. DDT continued to work as a non-conformist group, producing albums and giving concerts throughout the Soviet Union. This was no easy feat, as they received little if any money for the records they produced during this period, and very little for the concerts. Like other dissident artists, they survived through a combination of cleverness, perseverance, and unofficial help from the fan base. Shevchuk spent some time in Sverdlovsk, performing with the group Perfanjuis. In November 1985, DDT recorded the album Vremya in Moscow. In 1986, Shevchuk moved to Leningrad with his wife, son and mother. The move helped him to establish himself at the forefront of the Russian rock scene, as St. Petersburg was a center of musical resurgence. In 1987, he rebuilt DDT. Its new members included Vadim Kurylev, bass, Andrei Vasiliev, guitar, Igor Dotsenko, drums, Nikita Zaltzman Zaziev, violin, guitar, Mikhail Uncle Misha Chernov, saxophone, Andrei Muradov, keyboard. In January 23, 1987, the new lineup debuted on the stage of the Leningrad Rock Club. In June 1987, DDT performed at a Leningrad Rock Festival in front of an overflowing crowd of 3,000 crammed into a venue with a capacity of 1,000. In the summer of 1988, DDT toured across Russia and recorded a new album, Ya Polichal Eturo, which contained some songs from the old albums re-recorded in a professional studio. In 1988, the band also made the first visit to the U.S. Their concert in Los Angeles was covered by MTV. In 1989, they went on another tour with the band Eliza, performing at a rock festival in Hungary. In 1990, DDT performed several concerts in the U.S. and Japan. Also in 1990, DDT released Otipal, which presented the band's first concert program from the St. Petersburg period. They also participate in the Victor Say tribute concert, after the renowned singer-songwriter died in a car accident on August 15, 1990. After the Soviet Union's collapse in 1991, DDT attracted an even greater following both at home and abroad, as their albums and concerts began to be broadcast and publicized more widely. In 1991, DDT recorded another album, The Bleaken Keyboards Heavy Plastin. But after many months of work, Shevchuk decided to shelve it and the album was not released until 1995, 4 years later. In 1992, DDT released the album Actriza Vesna. This lyrical album, which was dedicated to Shevchuk's deceased wife Elmira, met with great popular success. It contained some of the band's greatest hits, include SHT Otako Osen, DOZHD, and Rodina. After releasing the album, the band toured extensively. Soon afterwards, the group changed its performance strategy by adding programs, conceptually prepared concerts, to its repertoire. During December 1992 and January 1993, DDT presented its first program, Kioni Bias Petersburg, and toured widely in CIS countries. On May 27, 1993, on the anniversary of the founding of St. Petersburg, DDT performed a free concert in Vortsovaya Square. 120,000 people attended. In the beginning of 1994, a new album, Atuvsyo, was recorded. Musicians planned to make a double album, however, because of challenging deadlines and the instability of the lineup, a significant amount of early musical material and recordings did not make it into the final version. Years later, these songs would be included in the band's Rojdalny VSSR album. During the summer of 1994, DDT took part in the rock festival White Nights of St. Petersburg in Berlin. That autumn, the group was awarded the prestigious Ovatsiya Award for Best Rock Group of the Year. Yuri Shevchuk was also named Best Rock Musician of the Year. In January 1995, during First Chechen War, Shevchuk went on a peace mission to Chechnya, where he performed 50 concerts for both Russian troops and Chechen citizens alike. On June 25, 1995, DDT performed a 15th anniversary concert in Petrovsky Stadium, attracting an audience of tens of thousands of fans. Afterwards, the group toured with its newest program, Oh I Do. At the end of the winter of 1995-1996, the group spent time working in the United States. In February to March 1996, DDT recorded a new album, Lyubov, at Longview Farm in Massachusetts with two new musicians, bassist Tikhomirov and keyboard player D. Galitsky. In the summer of 1996, upon the return from the United States, the group headlined several festivals, including Vladivostok, the first large-scale international music festival in the formerly closed city of Vladivostok on the Sea of Japan. In May 1998, the band released a new album titled Mir Nominal, a concept album which contained influences from industrial music and relied heavily on electronic and computer-generated music. With this program, DDT had lost a part of their old fans but found a huge success among the young auditory, a fact which DDT were very pleased by. A new album, Metal Augusta, contained mostly outtakes from Mir Nominal as well as songs with more warm and lyrical atmosphere. Since then, the band has won a number of Russian music awards and been awarded humanitarian citations for the creative and charitable work. Shevchuk and his group also regularly travel throughout the CIS and other former Soviet republics to give benefit concerts. In the spring and summer of 2002, 10 out of 11 concerts that the band played were benefits for various social and cultural organizations. The band has transcended Russia, reaching an ever-growing audience in the US and Europe, and for the past 20 years have traveled frequently throughout the world, playing concerts and gaining new fans with their unique sound. Shevchuk's music and lyrics are not only influenced by traditional Western rock music, but also by the entire scope of Russian folk, classical, and religious music. In many respects, Shevchuk's initial years of struggle as an underground musician shaped his and, by extension, the band's philosophy toward their art. The question of the music's marketability was never part of the songwriting process, as there was no market in which to compete but only an allegiance to the purity of artistic expression. In 2002 and 2003, DDT released a double album called Yedinochestvo. That duologue had even more experimental sound than Mir Nominal. After the following tour, Vadim Kurilev, band's guitarist and bass guitarist from original Pitta lined-up, had left a group to begin his solo career. One of Kurilev's last performances as DDT member was released on CD and DVD called Gorod Bezokon, 2005. Present in 2005, DDT celebrated their 25th anniversary with an extended tour throughout Russia, Europe, and North America, and the release of a new album entitled Propovshi Bezvesti, which received a critical acclaim. In 2007, DDT released the album Prekrasnaya Lyuba, a collection of previously unreleased songs which had been performed by the group for many years in addition to several new songs. The album differs from the previous albums, showcasing a greater focus on political and social subjects, rather than the more common musical abstraction of the last albums. Many songs are in the chanson style. On March 3, 2008, DDT performed at the Dissenters' March in St. Petersburg to protest the controversial election of Dmitry Medvedev as President of Russia. Subsequently, in May 2010, Shevchuk received considerable media attention following a pointed dialogue with Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, in which he openly confronted him with questions regarding such controversial topics as democracy, freedom of speech, assembly, and freedom of the press in Russia. On September 24 and 26, 2008, DDT presented an anti-war program called Nestrelye. These concerts were dedicated to victims of wars, particularly the victims of the war in South Ossetia. The concert in Petersburg was shown on TV by Channel 5 without commercial breaks. In the summer of 2009, DDT participated in the Rock nad Volgoi festival in Samara and in the International Music Festival Sodvoreni Mara in Kazan. On September 2, 2009, the band performed on VVC Square to protest the demolition of historical buildings in Moscow. By the time DDT started recording a next studio album, Shevchuk had become the only member from original Peter lineup and had brought together a brand new team. Konstantin "The Cat" Shumilov keyboards, Alex Fedichev lead guitar, Artyom Mame drums, vibraphone, Roman Neverev bass, Anton Vishnyakov trombone, tambourine, shaker, Elena Romanova backing vocals. In 2011, DDT released the concept album Anash. According to Shevchuk, the album's central theme is a freedom in all the forms and the lyrical hero is a Prince Hamlet of the 21st century which has no doubt about the question to be or not to be. He clearly knows to be. But the question, in which way? The band embarked on a big and successful tour which had been lasted since 2011 till 2014. In April 5, 2012, DDT released a film titled Nebo pod Sertsem, a compilation of behind-the-scenes and concert footage from the band's performance at the Olympic Stadium. That was the first multiple-camera concert films made in Russia. Later that year, the band took part in the rock festival The Best City UA in Dnipropetrovsk. In 2013, the band toured in Germany, performing at Tempodrome in Berlin and at Grugerhall in Estland. A concert in Essen was later released on CD plus DVD in 2014. DDT always was and still is one of the most popular rock groups in Russia, and the concerts typically attract tens of thousands of fans. Shevchuk put together the first incarnation of the band in the summer of 1980, and although its members have changed over the years, he continues to voice the concerns and frustrations of the Russian people in his music today, just as he did in the band's infancy. The more than 20 albums in DDT's discography not only chronicle the history of a rock group, but also provide poignant narratives that examine many aspects of life in the Soviet Union and Russia during the past 35 years. Discography.